Let's get into the astrology for March 2026. March 2nd, Mars moves into the sign of Pisces, where Mercury has been retrograding. March 3rd, we have a full moon total lunar eclipse at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. August, we have a lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Pisces. And next February 20th in 2027, there is a lunar eclipse at 2 degrees of Virgo. But these eclipses will be without the nodes because the nodes switch over to the Aquarius Leo axis July 2026. So we still have a little bit more work left in the area of Virgo and Pisces. If you have personal planets anywhere from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you will feel this more intensely. The Sabian symbol for 12 degrees of Virgo, the degree of the eclipse, is a bride with her veil snatched, shattering illusions. Shattering all illusions, having sudden revelations, sudden breakthroughs. The veil is removed, and you must look at the truth. Wherever you have the sign of Virgo, you're going to have sudden revelations, and you're going to be able to let go, detach from things that you no longer align with. And globally, on a world scale, truths are being revealed and will continue to be revealed throughout the year. This eclipse is happening in the Purva Falguni Nakshatra, which in Western tropical degrees is from 7 to 20 degrees of Virgo, and in sidereal, it's 13 degrees to 26 degrees of Leo. Its symbolism is the foot of the bed, meaning creation, creativity, family, love. All of us will be taking a closer look at our family connections, our relationships, the time and energy exchange of relationships, because this is the sign of Virgo. It's the sign of critique, noticing the details, noticing the flaws. And this eclipse is with the South Node, key 2. We might really be looking at the past relationships, past dynamics, and releasing anything that's not authentic in the realm of love, creativity, family, any kind of partnership that does not feel equal. We're going to want to detach from this. On a global scale, this is an ending of relationships that just don't work. Relationships could become totally different from now on. We may even change what the meaning of a good or bad relationship is, family dynamic. This eclipse is actually a big deal. On July 21st of this year, in 2026, Venus will cross the degree that this eclipse is happening right now. August 31st, Mercury will transit the degree that the eclipse is now happening. And Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse. So when it comes to July and August, that's when we can see more developments happening in the area of life where you have the sign of Virgo. January 10th of 2027, Mars will station retrograde at 10 degrees of Virgo, just 2 degrees away from this eclipse. June 12th and 13th of 2027, Mars will cross 12 degrees of Virgo. In the summer of 2027, Mars will act like the trigger, triggering this eclipse point yet again. So there's going to be a lot of changes in the area of life that you have the sign of Virgo, and you can feel the changes yet again this summer and next summer in 2027. This isn't good or bad. It just means that you're really shedding, you're really detaching from what is not meant for you, what's not meant to be in your life. In the area you have the sign of Virgo. Let's get to the rest of the astrology. March 6th, Venus will enter Aries. Venus will be at 0 degrees of Aries, where Saturn and Neptune just met up, restarting, reinitiating the new beginning that is happening in the sign of Aries. March 6th, the Sun is conjuncting with Mercury retrograde at 16 degrees of Pisces, initiating some new beginning in the Pisces area there. Mercury really does not like being in Pisces. It's bad for communication. Mars is joining in. So this could bring on a lot of frustration, things not working out the way we planned. March 7th, Venus will conjunct Neptune. And March 8th, Venus will conjunct Saturn. There could be a lot of sadness, loneliness, challenges in relationships, or even some people feeling like they've been swept off their feet and then seeing the reality of something they weren't seeing before. So there could be some challenges with relationships, especially the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. March 10th, Jupiter will turn direct at 15 degrees of Cancer. Finally, we can start seeing real world benefits, rewards, optimism. After the 10th of March, everything was more internal before, and now we're going to see more blessings, more opportunities appearing in the area of life where you have the sign of Cancer. Be careful of arguments and disagreements from around the 13th to the 15th. Mars is conjuncting with the North Node at 8 degrees of Pisces. And this can bring in anger, heated discussions. You may have a lot of endurance, wanting to go after something new, something you're craving, feeling a fated pull towards something, intense transformations. March 15th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct with Mars at 10 degrees of Pisces, almost opposite from the lunar eclipse point. This will bring in anger, heated discussions, or just a lot of miscommunication, not being able to get out what you really want, and that can cause a lot of frustration. Issues or problems, delays with travel. March 18th, we have a new moon at 28 degrees of Pisces. This is a new beginning wherever you have the sign of Pisces. You're starting to initiate something brand new in that area. March 20th, the sun enters Aries, again, really emphasizing that new beginning in the sign of Aries. March 20th, Mercury turns direct at 8 degrees of Pisces. Finally, we will gain clarity in the area we have the sign of Pisces. Travel and communication can go back to normal. March 22nd, the sun will conjunct with Neptune. We have increased intuition, increased creativity. March 25th, the sun will conjunct with Saturn. Hard work, structure. There could be challenges with authority figures. March 26th, Venus will conjunct with Chiron. This is all about forgiveness, healing old wounds, but past relationship wounds may surface. Like I said, the eclipse is happening in the Purva Falguni Nakshatra, which means there's a lot of healing, detachment, or really seeing the reality of relationships now. So a lot of old relationship wounds can come up. They're coming up so that you can heal them, release them. Now I'm going to look at the numerology for March 2026. 2026 is a year 10-1. This is the Wheel of Fortune. Fortune changes. You got to go out there. You got to do something about it. But fortune is changing. A lot of new beginnings can happen for everyone in 2026. March is month 13. 13 means things happen in a very big way. 13 is also about completion, endings, change, the 13 moon cycles. We are completing something in our lives with that Virgo lunar eclipse. That's where the ending, the completion is happening. The change. There could be a lot of things happening out of the blue. 13 is like things are happening really great in a big way, or things are happening really bad in a big way. You just never know. It's a very big transformative energy. 13 in tarot is the card of endings, rebirth, letting go of anything that is outdated. This is signaling a necessary change, a transition, transformation, but it's necessary. You cannot go where you want to go without leaving this behind. It's like that saying, you can't fully go into your new life if you are still holding on, clinging on to your old one. But March is also number 3. It's the Empress. It's community, growth, communication, fertility, creation. It's creativity. So it's also a month where you can gain a lot of abundance, start a new creative project, get together with people, socialize. Some people maybe even pregnancy, falling in love, starting a new creative hobby, a new creative business. Gemini, which means third house. Now Mercury is retrograde, so there could be issues with communication or going back to something that did not work before and making it work now. That is what Mercury retrograde is about. Sometimes going back to the things that did not work with new realizations where now you can make it work. So look to your Mercury placement for more insights this month. Look to your third house, even for more clues and insights on what the month is about. Changes in community, social media, AI, skill sets, online platforms, and information. You're going to feel like there's a big shift in there, whether that's just in your personal life or outside in the global world. We might have a lot of new things happening in the area of social media, communication, community, how we speak to each other. All right. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, consider liking, subscribing, commenting down below. I will have everything timestamped down below so you can check out what's happening for your sign. In the month of March, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Mars, the planet of anger and action, will shift into your 12th house on March 2nd. This is where we have the North Node. This is where we have Mercury retrograde, and it can be a time where things from the past surface. Past issues come to the forefront and you may have to resolve it. There can even be people talking about you. You may be sensing jealousy from other people, gossip. You may even be dreaming about the past, analyzing the past, have a hard time falling asleep. And just overall in March, you can feel like you have less energy. You want to be more withdrawn. March 3rd, we have a full moon lunar eclipse at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo. So right before that 13-degree mark, if you have personal planets from 9 to 15 or 16 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you will feel this eclipse more intensely. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. This is happening in the area of your 6th house, work, colleagues, your health, organization, debt, routine, as well as your pets. A lunar eclipse can be a time of closure. Those of you who own a business, this can be a time where some employees are leaving you, or just even in the workplace, you may feel like your coworkers are changing. Some of you may even let go of a job, be let go of a job. You could be releasing a negative habit at this time, something that is standing in the way of you living your best life, your optimal health. Issues with debt, bills from the past may come up, as well as issues with pets. So there could be a lot of endings around work, career, projects, employees, coworkers, ending of a bad habit. The way that you work, the way that you pay off bills, your health, your mental health are very much highlighted during the first 2 weeks of March. March 6th, Venus, your 7th house ruler, goes into your 1st house. And when you have Venus in the 1st house, you can attract love. This is a good time for shopping, having a good time. You become more charming. March 7th, Venus will conjunct with Neptune. March 8th, Venus will conjunct with Saturn. This can bring a lot of confusion in love or relationship challenges or even endings. A new chapter could be starting within your love life. Some of you may be meeting somebody new, wanting to change your look, change your style. So all month long, you are going to be more magnetic, and Venus in the 1st house can bring in more happiness into our lives as well. It's where we find joy, where we find happiness. And March and April, the focus is really on you, Aries. You're starting a new path in your life. New doors are opening up for you, and you're kind of ridding yourself of what does not belong. March 10th, Jupiter is going direct in your 4th house. So if you have been trying to buy a new vehicle, maybe you've been trying to move, things within the home felt stagnant, everything can finally start moving. Jupiter is all about expansion, giving you more opportunities when it comes to the home, your family connections, the place that you live, and your joy and happiness. The 4th house is the house of fortune, where we feel fortunate, we feel happy. So things in this area will finally start moving forward. Be a little bit more cautious. On the 13th, Mars will conjunct with the North Node in your 12th house. That's the house of losses, theft, gossip, things coming back from the past. March 15th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct with Mars in your 12th house. Secrets could be revealed. You might learn things you were unaware of about people in your life, your finances. This may also bring out arguments, frustrations. March 18th, we have a new moon in Pisces. This is your 12th house. This is a new beginning where you are releasing negative habits. Things that hold you back in life, you can finally release. Any addictions, overthinking, perfectionism, obsessions. You may finally be able to release these. Starting a new spiritual practice, planning a trip, meditation, or a creative project is something you could be working on towards the end of the month. On the 20th, the Sun enters Aries and Mercury goes direct, so communication can finally start going smoother, travel can start going smoother. By the end of the month, you're going to see that you're starting to go in a new direction. You're releasing your negative habits, negative thinking patterns, and your life is starting to take a whole different turn. I hope that this was helpful, Aries. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. March 2nd, the planet of anger and action, Mars, is heading into your 11th house, where it will stay all of March. Watch out for arguments, disagreements with friends, with an older sibling, clubs, organizations you belong to. Friendships could be changing, and maybe even some friendships will end. Some of you might also be working very hard within a group on a group project, really focused on your long-term plans. March 3rd, we have a lunar eclipse at 12 degrees of Virgo. This is your 5th house of children, creativity, romance. A lunar eclipse brings on endings. Eclipses can involve a lot of chaos, things happening out of the blue. Try not to make any rash decisions the first 2 weeks of March. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. For you, this could mean there's a romance that is ending, a relationship that is ending, a creative project coming to an end. You can be releasing certain hobbies and interests that no longer bring you joy. For some of you, this could be pregnancy, childbirth, something changing in the life of your child, or maybe your relationship is changing in some way. And this doesn't have to happen in March. It could just happen over the next few months. And this lunar eclipse is pretty tough because it's opposing Mercury retrograde, it's opposing Mars. So maybe there's a creative project you've been working on or a romance that you're involved in, and things are just not working out. So you're either going to let something go, release it, or pivot and do something different. Maybe even change up your parenting style, change up your parenting schedule. The first 2 weeks of March can be very emotional, frustrating. If you have personal planets from about 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, this can affect you on a more personal level, so you would feel this more intensely. March 6th, Venus, your ruling planet, enters Aries. This is your 12th house of losses, gossip, things happening behind the scenes. It could be an unexpected bill, unexpected news. The 7th, Venus will conjunct with Neptune, and on the 8th, Venus will conjunct with Saturn. So there could be challenges with romantic relationships or money those first few days of March. An unplanned, unexpected bill or an expense. Or maybe you learned something you were unaware of. From the 6th to the end of the month, you're wanting to retreat away from the world, spend more time alone, or you're working on something behind the scenes. March 10th, Jupiter will station direct in your 3rd house. And this can mean you're trying to learn a new skill, maybe publish your work, start a website, start a social media account. Maybe you are planning a trip, travel, or maybe there's new places opening up in your community. As Jupiter starts moving direct, there's going to be more optimism in learning a new skill, finding and connecting with like-minded people, and just overall positivity. March 13th, Mars will conjunct with the North Node, and March 15th, transiting Mercury retrograde will conjunct with Mars. Really be careful on those days. There could be heated arguments between you and an older sibling, you and a friend, a social group, or there could be friends or acquaintances that just really get on your nerves those 2 days. March 18th, we have a new moon in the sign of Pisces. This is your 11th house. This could mean that you meet new people. You meet new friends. You can gain more followers if you're on social media, more clients if you own a business. Some of you could join new groups, online communities with like-minded people. Buy yourself something nice. You may start feeling more extroverted, making big future plans. Maybe you're initiating something that you really want for your future career, socializing more, connecting with new people. March 20th, Mercury finally goes direct. So if there's been issues within a friendship circle, with a friend, an older sibling, this can finally start getting resolved. Or if you've been working on something and there's been communication issues, things should be much better after the 20th. So for you, Taurus, the theme is really romance, creativity, children, friendship, your future plans. That is really the theme for the month of March. But because your ruler is going into the 12th house, you're also going to find a lot of happiness in just spending some time alone, pampering yourself, getting a massage, just relaxing at home. But at the same time, you're going to have a lot of social events, a lot of social gatherings. I hope that this was helpful, Taurus. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Mars, the planet of anger and action, moving into your 10th house, where you have Mercury retrograding. You've got the node there. The sun is there. So your career is very much highlighted. That is where you're putting in all the work. That's where all the action is happening this month. Having more public exposure, working a lot harder. There might be some issues, disagreements with bosses, people of authority, so do be cautious of this. Bosses, people at work, or even the public might annoy you a little bit. Work may seem more demanding this month, but you're really wanting to put in the work. The huge thing is March 3rd, we have a total lunar eclipse at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo. This is your 4th house of home, family, mother, vehicles. This is the house of fortune. It's the house of happiness, where we feel secure. And this is a south node eclipse. We are detaching from something. You will have another lunar eclipse in your 4th house, February 20th, 2027, but it's not going to be with the node. So this is a big one, and it's going to be reactivated by planets crossing this degree in the summer of 2026, and it will be reactivated with that Mars retrograde we are having in 2027, and Mars will cross this degree point next summer of 2027. So you are making long-term changes, slowly detaching maybe from a place of living, from certain family, getting rid of an old vehicle, completely redecorating your house to suit your needs now. Some of you moving, a big move, moving far away, moving out of state. A lot of changes happening in your family, with your family dynamics. You are ending things that make you feel unhappy. This is also the house of the mother, so your mother may be going through a harder time. Maybe your relationship is changing, your dynamics are changing. For some of you, there might even be a loss in the family. Others of you, it's just getting rid of old furniture. An excellent time over the course of the next year to get rid of clutter, get rid of stuff that no longer serves any purpose in your life. This eclipse is opposing Mars in your 10th house. So maybe there is a desire to move somewhere for a career, change career dynamics, career ambitions and dynamics are interfering with family life. This eclipse will give you all those realizations. What doesn't belong? What do I need to do away with? Of course, try not to make any rash decisions because eclipses can be very chaotic energy. Things can happen out of the blue. And if you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you will feel this more intensely. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. March 6th, Venus enters your 11th house. It's going to join Neptune. It's going to join Saturn. So 6th, 7th, 8th, there might be issues with friendships, relationships, feeling lonely, feeling sad. But what is going to bring you a lot of joy and fulfillment throughout the month is socializing, working on your future hopes and dreams, buying yourself something nice, hanging out with friends, meeting new people. March 10th, Jupiter turns direct in your 2nd house. When Jupiter was retrograde, you might have been getting a lot of downloads or money-making ideas. And now that Jupiter turns direct, you're going to be able to see tangible things happen, especially when it comes to money, career, possessions, buying yourself nice possessions that you have always wanted, getting a raise, getting paid more, new money-making ventures, a new job, a new business, more self-confidence, feeling more optimistic. Your ruling planet, Mercury, is retrograding all month long. It's in the 10th house. So you could be working on a work project, having to redo some work project, or maybe rethinking your career aspirations altogether. But on the 18th, we have a new moon in your 10th house, which means new work opportunities, a promotion, finding a new job, starting a new business, getting recognized by the public, your career manifestations coming to fruition. You're starting something new in the area of career. And at first, it seems like you can't get it going, but then it all falls together and you'll see that there'll be a brand new beginning from the end of March into April when it comes to your career, your job. March 20th, your ruling planet, Mercury, finally goes direct in your 10th house. So everything can start coming together. There's going to be better communication, no more delays, and you will fully dive into working on your career, your business, initiating that new start in your career. I hope that this was helpful, Gemini. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. March 2nd, the planet of anger and action is moving into the sign of Pisces. This is where Mercury is retrograding. There could be trips or travel that you are planning, learning something new, learning, teaching, media. There could be disagreements with teachers, with students, with a father figure. But it could also just be that you are working really hard on publishing your work, a new skill set. The big thing is March 3rd, we have a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. It's exactly at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo, basically almost 13 degrees. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you will feel this more intensely. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. And this eclipse will be reactivated this summer. It will be reactivated by the Mars retrograde we are having next year. So it's you detaching from old thought patterns, old skill sets that are no longer useful for you. There could be a change in the life of your sibling, or maybe your relationship is changing. Your community could be changing. Neighbors moving, restaurants that you frequently visit, maybe closing down. Letting go of old computers, old phones, TVs, electronics. You want to change your day-to-day routine, so you are detaching from things that you no longer want to do every single day. Having some conversations with people close to you that you've been meaning to have but have been putting off. Something inspires you to speak your mind, start a social media account, be more courageous. There is a sense of detachment, closure, things being revealed to you that you were unaware of before, that now make you look different at certain routines, meaningless gossip, maybe social media accounts you no longer want to follow, want to be a part of. Your immediate environment is changing, and you're going to be the one in the driver's seat wanting to take yourself out of areas, things, places where you no longer feel that it's beneficial for you. March 6th, Venus moves into your 10th house. This can mean you getting a new job, starting a new business, getting recognized for your work, a promotion, finding friends, or maybe someone you want to date at work. That is where the joy will come from in the month of March. Working on your career aspirations, your business. March 10th, Jupiter turns direct at 15 degrees of Cancer. So if you are a Cancer sun, moon, or rising from about 13 to 17 degrees, this is where Jupiter blesses you with new opportunities, expansion in your life. But all Cancers will feel this. It's when things start moving forward. It's not just internal blessings as Jupiter retrograde brings, it's external. You will see more opportunities open up for you. You're going to be more optimistic. You're going to attract people and opportunities to you for the next 6 months. So a lot of you will finally start feeling more abundant, more happy after the 10th. March 18th, there's a new moon in the sign of Pisces. That is where Mercury is retrograding. That's where Mars is. It's your ninth house of higher education, philosophy. Some of you might change the way that you think about the world. Maybe change your religious views, read something, start planning a trip, connect with new teachers. Watch a documentary, pick up a book that really opens you up to new ways of thinking, new knowledge. Meet people from different parts of the world. This is all about expansion, new knowledge, maybe a new publishing deal, wanting to write a book, wanting to make content. There could also be new beginnings in the life of your father. So the second half of March, you're really working on learning something new or teaching something that you already know to other people. And March 20th, Mercury finally goes direct. So if there has been issues when it comes to school, publishing, travel plans, this can finally get sorted out and communication returns back to normal. And things will start moving forward a lot faster. I hope that this was helpful, Cancer. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Mars is going into Pisces on March 2nd. This is your 8th house, meaning that this month the past can come back. It can come to the surface. Secrets are revealed. You are diving deep into occult knowledge, mysticism, the human mind. There could be issues with money, joint finances. That could be your focus. Insurance policies, taxes. March 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo exactly. So right there, almost at that 13-degree mark, which is your second house of self-esteem, money, possessions, family obligations, what you value. This is a south node eclipse, meaning we are detaching. It's like a full moon on steroids. It lasts a lot longer. The planet ruling over this eclipse is in your 8th house. It's retrograding. This eclipse point will be triggered again in July and August of this year. And even in the summer of 2027, Mars will be going over this degree after it is done with its retrograde. So this area becomes very important. The theme of this eclipse is a veil is lifted. You are gaining clarity. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, this will be more intense. There could be other stuff going on, and a lot of Leo risings have planets in Virgo. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. This eclipse is going to shed a lot of light on the things that you find to be valuable in your life. And valuable things we cherish, is anything from friendships, relationships, possessions, our income. Anything that we find valuable is the second house. And this means that your values are changing. So right now, and really over the course of the year, and even next year, you are releasing something when it comes to your money, your possessions, your responsibilities, your domestic responsibilities. For some of you, this could mean that you are detaching from a source of income that comes from other people, whether it's alimony, child support, government assistance, or maybe your spouse's income. The second house is 8th from 7th. Some of you, this might even mean a separation, a divorce, where you are now learning to stand on your own 2 feet. That could be triggered with this eclipse for some of you. Now, for some of you, it's releasing a job, a source of income that you have been relying on up to this point. Getting rid of possessions, maybe because you are moving. Eclipses in the second house a lot of times really do reveal that you are moving or will be moving. Being away from people that you have been relying on. For those of you who are coupled and married, this could mean that you are releasing a domestic responsibility. The second 8th house axis is all about our responsibilities that we share with other people, what we are responsible for. And this eclipse might shed light on how there is an imbalance in sharing domestic responsibilities. So there could be a change in schedule, in the way that you eat, self-care practices, needing to have dental work done. For some of you, maybe even close friendships that you are releasing, a relationship, something that was very valuable, you thought was very valuable. Now you begin to see those things that you thought were valuable as responsibilities that are just weighing you down. Even when we think of possessions, sometimes we have to re-examine, is it worth it? I have to keep paying for all this stuff to store it. I have to have a bigger house to have all this stuff. So you might be releasing a lot of things, possessions you no longer find useful. So work might change, your income might change, and it might affect your self-esteem. You might feel that you need to do something else. You want to do something completely different when it comes to work, business, how you make money. And this eclipse is going to bring a lot of clarity around that, what you want to release, do away with. And you might notice it now in March. You might notice it in the summer. That is when Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, will cross this degree point. And you might notice it next year when Mars retrogrades in this area. And then later, Mars will cross this degree point in the summer of 2027. So this area will get triggered again. But it's all about releasing things that we no longer want to take care of, that we no longer find of value. Income changing and responsibility changing. March 6th, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and joy, will enter your 9th house. The sign of Aries, where there's a lot of new beginnings happening for you with the presence of Saturn and Neptune. So the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, there might be a feeling of loneliness, relationship confusion, or relationship challenges. When Venus will meet up with Neptune, it will meet up with Saturn. Venus will be in your 9th house pretty much all month long, meaning that the joy, the happiness for you is going to come from learning, discovering new topics. This could be through books, through documentaries, maybe watching some social media, going back to school, spiritual knowledge, planning a trip, going on a trip, taking a vacation, learning something new, gaining new perspectives, exploring other ideas. March 10th, Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, is finally turning direct, which means now you can gain tangible results from Jupiter. It's turning direct exactly at 15 degrees of Cancer. So if you have any planets from 15 to 20 degrees of Cancer, you can start feeling the abundance of Jupiter. But really, it's going to affect all of us. There's going to be more optimism, and for you, a lot of creative ideas. Really pay attention to signs, synchronicities, your dreams, your intuition. That's how Jupiter will really bless you when it's turning direct in the 12th house through the unseen forces around you. Be a little bit more cautious from the 13th to the 17th. On the 13th, Mars will come together with the North Node, so you could really be pursuing fiercely what it is that you want. But this can also bring on some aggression. And on the 15th, Mars is coming together with Mercury retrograde. There could be heated arguments, heated discussions about money, about the past, secrets with you and an intimate partner. Those days could be a little bit more volatile. March 18th, there is a new moon in your 8th house. Shared resources, intimacy, occult knowledge. Your spouse or partner could start making more money, get a new job. This means a new source of income is coming to you from other people. It could even be in the form of an inheritance, a bonus, stock market money, a new therapist, a new astrologer, studying occult knowledge in some way, new inspiration to study mystical fields, a new accountant, new insurance policies, or finding a new way to really get close to your partner. So you are beginning something new in this area towards the end of the month going into April. On the 20th, the sun will move into the 9th house, again, really highlighting that new beginning that you are initiating in the 9th house area. In March and April, you'll really notice that you are beginning a new course of study, a new perspective. Also on March 20th, Mercury finally turns direct. So if there has been issues when it comes to finances, future planning, taxes, shared resources, All of this could finally get squared away now and make sense. Communication, travel can flow a lot better and easier after the 20th. I hope that this was helpful for you, Leo. Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. March 2nd, Mars moves into your 7th house in the sign of Pisces, where it is joining up with retrograding Mercury, which is your ruling planet. This is where all the action is. Other people, partnerships, relationships, contracts, agreements. And with Mercury retrograde, it's past things coming up. It could be past relationships that you are thinking about, reminiscing about, going back to the past, hearing from people that you used to date. But there could also be issues, disagreements, arguments, misunderstandings with business partners, romantic partners, clients. Some of you are pursuing new relationships, trying to start up something new. There is a big focus on partnerships, contracts, romantic relationships. The biggest thing for you, Virgo, March 3rd, total lunar eclipse, exactly at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo, close to the 13-degree mark. And this is a really big deal. This is the last Virgo eclipse with the North Node, but not the last. I'll get into that in a minute. July 21st, Venus will cross over this degree. August 31st, this summer, Mercury will also transit over this eclipse degree point. Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse. It's now retrograding in your 7th house. So these dates are very important. Not just now, what's happening in March, but what is happening this summer. And then next year, Mars will be retrograding in this area. And next summer, June 12th, 13th, Mars will trigger this degree point again. So this is a very long-term thing that you are ridding yourself of. You're detaching from something. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you are a Virgo rising anywhere from 9 to 15 degrees or somewhere close to that, this is going to be felt even more intensely for you. If it's Sun, it's your health, vitality, career. Moon, your emotions, your family, your home. If it's your rising sign, it's your whole life path that is about to change, Virgo. I know the nodes are switching over this summer, but this is not the last of the Virgo Pisces eclipses. You still have more work to do. August 28th, there is a lunar eclipse in your 7th house, 5 degrees of Pisces. Next February in 2027, there is another lunar eclipse in your 1st house at 2 degrees of Virgo. There is more changes coming your way, but this eclipse is going to start initiating those major changes to your identity, to your core personality. This eclipse is all about shedding the illusions, the veil being removed, and you seeing clearly what it is that you no longer want, need, or can go on with, what it is that you no longer are. It's a South Node eclipse, so we are releasing, we're letting go, we're detaching from our old identity. That's what the 1st house is about. The ruler of the eclipse is in your 7th house of partnerships, and it could be because of a relationship, because of a past relationship, a past partnership you are no longer a part of. You are no longer part of that union, so you are changing. And the first 20 days of March might be a bit confusing. You might wonder, am I in the right career? Do I want to look like this? Do I still want to be in this area of my life? Because your ruler is retrograding. So you're asking yourself these difficult questions. A lot of you want to change the way that you look, your aesthetic, your style, your hair. Some of you might even be going through a big makeover, weight loss, really shedding the old identity. And this is a long-term process. Like I said earlier, it's going to get triggered a few times all the way into next summer. But you are starting something now. Some of you might have already started this process, releasing fears, self-limiting beliefs, finally understanding who it is that you are, who it is that you want to be. Some of you, maybe it's because you are changing careers. You no longer want to be identified as the person who does A, B, and C. You want to do something else. So you want a whole new identity, a whole new line of work. Huge things can start happening in your life. But the first process is to detach and release, because you cannot start a new life while still hanging on to the old one. So first you must detach from who it is that you no longer want to be, what you no longer want to be a part of your life, so that you could start living this new life. This new identity, this new personality could present itself. And this could be a very emotional process for a lot of you. Some of you could be detaching from relationships, detaching from jobs, detaching from where you live, moving, changing your body, changing your health. The people around you can start to change. Some of you, marriage, pregnancy, huge life things always happen around eclipses. Try not to make any rash decisions on or around the eclipse, as a lot of times eclipse energy is very chaotic. Things happen out of the blue. And of course, your ruling planet is retrograde, so things can seem very up in the air, very confusing. You're going to feel this very intense energy, like the whole world around you is changing. And you're going to see that again this summer. You're going to see that again in the winter of 2027 and in the summer of 2027. By then, you're going to see that you're heading into a whole new identity, a whole new life, a whole new lifestyle. And a lot of you will be looking completely different too, whether that is by changing your health, by changing your style, the way that you look. People will notice that you are different. The ruler of this eclipse is in your 7th house, where later on in the month you have a new moon, a new beginning, a new relationship. Some of you, it could be through a new union, a new partnership, whether that is in a romantic relationship, a business partnership, or you just start dating somebody new. That is where the new beginning could start, could initiate through a relationship. Other people can ignite that change, that spark of change in you through partnerships, through new relationships. Look back to 2008, 2009. That was probably a point in your life where your identity shifted. You changed who you were, what you were doing. You changed your look, your style. And now we're having the same eclipses yet again. March 6th, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, joy, enters your 8th house in the sign of Aries. This is where Saturn and Neptune just met up at 0 degrees of Aries. So in March and April, that new beginning you started initiating through your 8th house area is being reignited by Venus. Now, from the 6th to the 9th, there could be some relationship issues, as Venus will meet up with Neptune, then meet up with Saturn. So there could be some confusion within relationships, or maybe a feeling of loneliness, sadness, or like there is restriction within a relationship, or maybe restriction with money. Venus is about our joy, our pleasure. So the pleasure and joy you will find in the month of March come through 8th house matters, through working on your psyche, psychological blockages, diving deep into occult knowledge, occult subjects, working on intimacy, on your partnerships, going back to the past and realizing your triggers. This is actually going to bring you joy, going through all of that and really dissecting what it is that you need to release, let go. Astrology readings, tarot readings, watching a good psychological thriller. March 10th, Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance, will turn direct in your 11th house of friends, gains, hopes, and dreams. Jupiter will now start bringing tangible results. When Jupiter is retrograde, the results of Jupiter are more internally felt. For some of you, this can mean more followers if you're on social media, if you have a business, meeting new people, meeting new friends, expanding your social network, your social circle, joining new groups, making plans for the future. A lot of you getting a raise, buying yourself stuff you really wanted, feeling lucky, feeling appreciated by others. And this is going to continue from now until the middle of the summer, at which point Jupiter will go into your 12th house. So it's an excellent time to work on your future goals and plans and get out there, socialize. Virgo, this is your time to meet people. The North Node is in your 7th house, and you have had Saturn and Neptune there for a while. So you could have met a lot of liars, cheaters, people with mental instabilities, addictions. There could have been situationships. Saturn could have brought challenges, obstacles, painful breakups, separations. So a lot of you could be jaded and not want to really go out there and meet people. But this is really the time. It's the time to meet new people. These new people can help you expand and take your life in a whole new direction. You worked off all of your negative relationship karma. Wherever the North Node is, it's all about expansion, meeting somebody different, and now there's no obstacles in the way. Jupiter is all about abundance and expansion. Jupiter will not be back in your 11th house for another 12 years. And the North Node will not be back in your 7th house for another 18 years. So this is your time. From now until this summer, it's time to expand. Watch out from March 13th through March 17th. March 13th, Mars will conjunct the North Node, which can really have you going after your desires, a relationship, a partnership. But it can create a lot of arguments, anger. March 15th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct with Mars. And that's, again, heated discussions, a lot of tension, anger, and this is all in your 7th house of other people. So it could be your partner, your spouse. Mercury is retrograding. It could be an ex-partner, an ex-spouse. So around those days, other people could really be picking fights with you, trying to start an argument. So be careful of this. And March 18th, we have a new moon in the sign of Pisces, which is your 7th house. New beginnings in this area, a new relationship, a new partnership, a new contract, meeting new friends, working with the public, marriage, engagement, taking a relationship to the next level. So like I was saying, this is your time to get social. March 18th, you're going to feel that shift. March 20th, your ruler, Mercury, will turn direct. So if there have been issues, miscommunication, arguments, disagreements with romantic partners, with business partners, with clients, all of that could get sorted out. And you may get some realizations about relationships, about past relationships. So it's a really big month for you, Virgos. I hope that this was helpful for you. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, March 2nd, Mars goes into Pisces, your 6th house. So all month long, you could be really motivated to get fit, get healthy. You could also be very impatient, maybe very competitive, motivated to pay off your debt, motivated to pay off bills. At the same time, there could be some arguments, disagreements with employees, those of you who own a business, or they could bring you some aggravations. There could also be some misunderstandings or maybe arguments with coworkers. Coworkers could be getting on your nerves. Some of you may be even having to redo some work projects. March 3rd, we have a total lunar eclipse at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo, almost at 13 degrees. This is your 12th house, your subconscious mind. There could be dramatic endings when it comes to letting go of painful memories, repressed memories. This is a time to focus on your mental health. There could be a lot of stuff going on within your subconscious. The 12th house is how we self-sabotage. And this is a South Node eclipse. So you are detaching from those memories, your self-sabotaging behaviors. There could be a lot of anxiety, mental anguish you are going through. You might be feeling really introverted, wanting to be away from people, especially the beginning of the month. You could have insomnia, staying up at night, overthinking. With eclipses, things can happen out of the blue really quickly, so try not to make any rash decisions. There could be unexpected bills, unexpected expenses. This eclipse is really signaling for you to let go of bad habits, let go of the ways that you self-sabotage yourself. The ruler of this eclipse is a retrograde at the time of this eclipse, so there could be a lot of confusion. But the ruler is in your 6th house. So this is you finally taking control of your life, initiating a new health routine, doing something different for your health, your mental health. July 21st, your ruling planet, Venus, will transit over this eclipse degree point. August 31st, Mercury, which is the ruler of this eclipse, will cross over this degree. The eclipse point will get triggered in the summer yet again. And next year, Mars retrograde will be in this area as well. And in the summer of 2027, Mars will go over this degree. So this is a longer process of you releasing unhealthy habits, unhealthy ways you escape reality. So in March, and every time that this eclipse is triggered this summer, next winter, next summer, secrets may come out, secrets that you've been holding back, secrets others have been keeping from you. All of this can come to the surface. You will be confronted with all your repressed emotions. It's all about you finally seeing through illusions of what your unhealthy patterns are doing to your life. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, this eclipse can be more intense. If it's sun, it's health, career, your image. If it's moon, it's your home, family, where you live. Venus, your relationships. Look back to 2008, 2009. That was probably a point in time in your life you were releasing a lot of negative habits. There could have been challenges with health, with mental health, with feeling a little bit depressed, a little bit down, withdrawn. The same themes are coming up again so that you could release all that negativity. March 6th, Venus, which is your ruling planet, is going into Aries, your 7th house of partnerships, romantic relationships. This is where Saturn and Neptune met up at 0 degrees of Aries, and now this new beginning is getting reignited by Venus, your ruling planet. Venus is joy, it's our happiness, so the joy in March will come from partnerships, meeting new people, dating, taking a relationship to the next level. But from the 6th to the 9th, watch out, because Venus will meet up with Neptune, then it will meet up with Saturn. This might create obstacles, delays, challenges in relationships, not seeing reality clearly, having too high of expectations. So those few days can be a little bit iffy. We can be feeling a little bit more lonely, more withdrawn. But after that, this is the month, Libra, where a lot of you are starting a new important relationship. You're meeting somebody new. March 10th, Jupiter is going to station direct at 15 degrees of Cancer. When Jupiter was retrograde, the blessings that come to you are more internal. Now you can see tangible results. From now until this summer, you have a chance to expand your career, get a new job, start a new business, new work opportunities, promotions. This is the time to really go after your career. There's going to be more optimism after March 10th when Jupiter goes direct. March 13th, Mars will conjunct the North Node, which could lead to anger, heated discussions, you really pursuing something that you really desire. But this is happening in the area of work, employees, coworkers. So be careful. People might be picking fights with you. Same thing, March 15th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct with Mars, which also indicates a lot of anger, heated discussions, arguments. This is all in your 6th house of work. So you want to watch out those 2 days because people can be on edge. And really from the 13th, through the 17th, you're more susceptible to work accidents. March 18th, we have a new moon in the sign of Pisces. This is your 6th house. This can signal a new diet regimen, a new workout routine, you paying off your debt. This can also mean that if you own a business, you're going to hire new employees. New people are going to come work for you. And at work, you could see new coworkers, new changes going on at work. A new job for some of you. This month is all about getting your health on track, your mental health, your physical health, getting your routine right, maybe initiating something new with your routine towards the end of the month. And for some of you, with that new moon in your 6th house, it could mean getting a new pet. On the 20th, Mercury finally turns direct. So if there have been miscommunication with employees, with coworkers, ongoing health issues you don't have answers to, things will finally get sorted out towards the end of the month. I hope that this was helpful for you, Libra. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Mars, your ruler, is going into Pisces, your 5th house area, March 2nd. This means that this month, all your energy is going to creative projects, new creative ideas, a new romance, a new attraction, You're thinking of your investments. Those of you who have children, there could be arguments, disagreements with children. They could be acting up. This is where Mercury retrograde is. So maybe you are having to redo a project. There could be miscommunication between you and your children, you and a romantic partner. You could be reminiscing about old romantic partners. Old romantic partners could contact you, come back into your life. Maybe even rekindling of an old romance can happen. March 3rd, there is a full moon lunar eclipse with the south node in your 11th house. It's happening exactly at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo, almost 13 degrees. If you have personal planets from about 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, this will be felt more intensely. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. Eclipses are always chaotic energy. Things can happen out of the blue, so try not to make any rash decisions. So with a full moon lunar eclipse in your 11th house, there could be endings in your social circle, parting ways with friends, with groups that you belong to, leaving an organization, a charity that you no longer feel aligned with. If you have an older sibling, your older sibling could be going through an ending in their life, a bigger challenge, or your relationship could change at this time, your relationship dynamics. Some of you maybe have reached a big milestone, an accomplishment, something that you have been working towards, or what you want to work towards. Your future goals can dramatically change at this time. You might want to totally revamp what it is that you want out of life and start working towards other goals. 11th house is also social media. If you are a business, you have a large following, you could lose followers at this time, or even dramatically change who you follow on social media. You might want to unfollow certain accounts. The 11th house is the love that you receive from other people. And this eclipse is really going to shed light on unequal relationships, unequal friendships. So if there's friendships in your life that you feel are draining you, they're unequal, you give more than you get back, this is going to be very apparent. It doesn't actually have to be this dramatic. Sometimes it could be that a friend gets married, a friend moves away, so you no longer can have the same connection. Therefore, your relationship changes anyway. So it doesn't have to be that you get in a fight with a friend or a dramatic ending. Sometimes it can be, but sometimes it's just that relationships start changing. Your friendships are changing. And so are your interests, your hobbies, and even your romantic relationships. The ruler of this eclipse is Mercury, retrograding in your 5th house of creativity, romance, children. For some of you, this could even be a friend that now turns into a romantic partner, an old romantic partner that now becomes a friend. Those of you who have children, maybe they reach an important milestone and they're going off to college, getting their first place. So that's a big theme for March. Friendships, romance, and creativity. That's the big theme. And it's not just March. The eclipse degree will be triggered this summer. And next year, Mars is retrograding in this area. And next year, the 12th and 13th of July 2027, Mars will go over this degree point. So it will trigger this area yet again. So it's a longer process of changing friendships, changing romantic dynamics, changing creative hobbies. March 6th, Venus moves into Aries, your 6th house. This is where Saturn and Neptune met up at 0 degrees of Aries, where you are initiating a new beginning. So from the 6th through the 9th, there could be relationship issues, feelings of loneliness that come up as Venus meets up with Neptune and then Saturn. Maybe even some obstacles or delays with relationships, with money. Venus is our joy or happiness. So the joy for the month of March is going to be about getting healthy, getting fit, starting a new routine, organizing your life in some way, having fun with employees, with coworkers. Those of you who own a business, you could be hiring more people to work for you. March 10th, Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, will turn direct. So we're all going to be more optimistic after the 10th. So from now until this summer, Jupiter is giving you more opportunities, more expansion when it comes to learning a new skill, publishing, teaching a new skill. When it comes to learning a new skill, teaching a new skill, publishing, travel, trips, books, documentaries that really broaden your horizons, open you up to new perspectives. You want to be a little bit more cautious from the 13th through the 17th. On the 13th, Mars is going to conjunct with the North Node in your 5th house. On the 15th, Mars will conjunct with Mercury retrograde in your 5th house. And this could lead to heated arguments, disagreements with romantic partners, with children, with an ex that maybe contacts you. People can just be more on edge, so you want to be careful with all communications around that time. This whole Mercury retrograde period can be bringing up a lot of intense emotions. As it's in a water sign, we're going to really explore our past hurts, past feelings. March 18th, there is a new moon in Pisces. This is your 5th house of creativity, children, romance, starting a new romance with somebody, meeting somebody new, starting or initiating a new creative project, discovering new passions. Some of you, it's pregnancy, taking a relationship to the next level, finding a new hobby. There is a brand new beginning around love and creativity at the end of the month. And March 20th, Mercury finally turns direct in your 5th house. So if there has been miscommunication around a creative project with your children, romantic partners, things can finally get resolved. And all communication can finally go back to normal. I hope that this was helpful for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. March 2nd, Mars moves into Pisces. This is your 4th house. So watch out for family arguments or home repairs that are needed, vehicle repairs. Vehicles may break down. You might be working on a big home project, home renovation. This can bring up arguments within the home, within the family. And this is where Mercury is retrograding. So there could be some issues with the home, with the vehicle, something that you have to resolve, go back to, try again. March 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse at 12 degrees and 51 seconds of Virgo, almost at 13 degrees. Those of you who have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces will experience this eclipse more intensely. There could be other things going on. This is a South Node eclipse, so it's essentially detachment. A lot of times with eclipses, things happen out of the blue we have no control over, so it can be a very chaotic energy the first 2 weeks of March. Some of you may leave a job, get let go of a job, or there's people at your work that are leaving, so your bosses, your superiors are changing, your hours are changing, your business is changing in some way. There could be changes with work and home, because the ruler of this eclipse is sitting in your 4th house of home, family. So for a lot of you, there could be something going on in the lives of your parents. They could be going through something, more challenges. Your relationship is changing. A big move, a career change. Getting rid of stuff in your home, selling a vehicle, buying a vehicle. There could be a lot of changes at work and home. Some of you, it could be retirement. If you look back to 2008, 2009, the same themes are coming up yet again. So even back then, there could have been changes at work, changes to your job title. And over the next year, you're going to notice that there is big changes going on within your home and your career. March 6th, Venus will enter Aries, and this is where you are initiating a new beginning, where Saturn and Neptune met up at 0 degrees of Aries. So from the 6th to the 9th, there could be financial issues, relationship challenges, or a feeling of loneliness as Venus meets up with Neptune and then Saturn. But really all month long, with Venus being in your 5th house, the joy and happiness will come from spending time with your children, romance, dating, or just letting loose and having fun, maybe even initiating new investments for some of you. March 10th, Jupiter finally turns direct. When Jupiter was retrograde, all the blessings Jupiter gives are internal. So we might be planning things, thinking of things. Now that Jupiter is direct, you can see tangible things happening around you. So from now on until this summer, Jupiter is direct in your 8th house. Jupiter will not be back here for another 12 years. 8th house rules joint finances, other people's money. You could benefit from stocks, investments, getting a loan if you need one. An inheritance, a spouse or partner could start making more money. Some of you might start a new romantic relationship, more intimacy, more money, more benefits, and you can notice this over the next few months. You want to be more cautious. March 13th through the 17th. On the 13th, Mars will conjunct with the North Node. This gives you a lot of endurance to really go after what you want, but this can also bring up heated discussions, arguments, and this is your 4th house, so it could be arguments within the family, so you want to just be more cautious. People can be a little bit more on edge. March 15th, Mercury retrograde is conjunct Mars. Same thing, this is your 4th house of home and family. There can be issues with vehicles, maybe home repairs that are needed, or arguments within the family, or just more tension. So you want to watch out those 2 days. March 18th, there is a new moon in your 4th house of home and family, and this could be a new beginning in the home. A new family member coming to live with you, a new place of living, redecorating, buying a new vehicle. So there is a fresh new beginning when it comes to home, place of living, vehicle, your security, your happiness, happening towards the end of March. March 20th, Mercury finally turns direct. So if there's been issues with the home, repairs with the car, things can finally get resolved and communication could go back to normal. I hope that this was helpful, Sagittarius. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Mars is moving into your 3rd house, March 2nd. This is where it's going to be all month long. This is when you become more outgoing, more ambitious. You want to go out. Some of you are initiating a new skill. You are learning something new, promoting yourself on social media. This is also where Mercury is retrograding. So there could be issues with electronics, with the vehicle, with communication, some misunderstandings. Watch out for arguments, disagreements with siblings, with neighbors. March 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse happening in your 9th house. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, this eclipse can affect you in different ways, more intensely. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. This is your 9th house. You are releasing old, outdated beliefs, and these could be religious, political, or just philosophical beliefs that you are releasing. You have realizations come to you, and you no longer want to believe certain teachings. Some of you could be finishing up a course of study, releasing certain teachers, maybe ending a publishing deal, finalizing passport immigration paperwork. Some of you could be ending a legal battle, a legal case. There could be endings in the life of your father, or maybe your relationship changes in some way. Some of you, this could be going on a big trip, planning a big trip. For most of you, this is skill sets. This is thought patterns. So a lot of you are releasing outdated thinking patterns right now, not wanting to follow old patterns. So a lot of you are changing up your schedule, wanting to learn new skills, expand your horizon, and think in a completely different way. That's what this is about for a lot of you. Of course, for some of you, this could be more intense. If you have personal planets in the 3rd or 9th house in Virgo and Pisces, then this could be more dramatic. There could be big changes with home, family, relationships. And this doesn't have to happen just in March. Over the course of the year, you're going to realize that certain old patterns, old ways of thinking, doing things just do not work anymore. March 6th, Venus moves into your 4th house. This is where you are initiating a new beginning, where Saturn and Neptune met up at 0 degrees of Aries. So from the 6th to the 9th, there could be some relationship challenges, maybe feeling lonely, issues with money, as Venus meets up with Neptune and Saturn for those few days. But Venus is our happiness, where we find joy. And this month, the happiness is at home with family, spending time with family members, fixing up your home in some way, redecorating, or just spending time at home with the people you love is what's going to bring you a lot of joy and fulfillment. March 10th, Jupiter stations direct in your 7th house of relationships. When Jupiter is retrograde, the benefits of Jupiter are internal. We're thinking about doing stuff now that it is direct. From now until the middle of the summer, you will see tangible things happening around you. This could be romance, a new relationship, taking your relationship to the next level, a new business partner, new clients, for those of you who own a business. But Jupiter is opposing you. This is just more happiness, more optimism coming into your life. And you won't have Jupiter in your 7th house for another 12 years. So use these next few months to go out, mingle with other people. That is where the benefits are coming to you. Through other people, through relationships, through partnerships. Try to be a little bit more cautious. March 13th through March 17th. March 13th, Mars will conjunct the North Node. You could passionately be going after your desires, but at the same time, this could create some heated discussions, maybe even arguments, disagreements within your community, with your neighborhood, with your siblings, maybe even some road rage around you. This can make people more accident prone as well. March 15th, Mercury retrograde is conjunct Mars. This can bring up anger, heated discussions, things from the past coming back, conversations from the past coming back into our lives. So just be careful around those days. People can be on edge. March 18th, there is a new moon in Pisces. This is your 3rd house. There could be something new beginning in the life of your sibling. Some of you getting new neighbors, an update to your neighborhood. For you, this could mean a new routine, a new computer, a new cell phone, building a website, getting on social media, creating content, planning a trip, or maybe you are starting to learn a new skill set. So there is a new beginning in skill sets, routine, your community towards the end of March. And March 20th, Mercury finally goes direct. So if there has been issues with communication, having to redo projects, things will finally go back to normal. I hope that this was helpful, Capricorn. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, March 2nd, Mars will move into Pisces, your 2nd house area. This is where Mercury is retrograding. There could be some confusion around bills, money, finances, and Mars is going to be here all month long, which means you could be spending a lot. You could make more money, but you could also be spending it really quickly. Money, joint family responsibility, that is really the big theme for the month of March. March 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse exactly at 12 degrees 51 seconds of Virgo, really close to the 13-degree mark. This is your 8th house of joint finances, intimacy. If you have personal planets from 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, then this eclipse will affect you more intensely. It could affect other areas of your life. Look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. This is a South Node eclipse, so there is a sense of endings, detachment, releasing, letting go. If you depend on alimony, child support, or government assistance, something could end in that department. An end of a contract, end of an agreement, parting ways with a therapist, astrologer, an accountant. Your partner may lose a source of income, or it feels like there's just less money. Money has to be delegated other places. This is the axis of joint finances and joint responsibilities that you share with another person. There might be realizations that one does more than the other, things are unfair, so there could be big changes in the way family responsibilities are delegated. This is the 8th house, so things can happen suddenly. As with eclipses, sometimes things happen suddenly out of the blue. We have no control over them. Some of you might experience a loss, an inheritance, secrets come to light, or you're dealing with the past in some way. This can even be a breakup, a separation, a divorce, a major move, so you are releasing certain possessions, because the ruler of this eclipse is Mercury, and it is retrograde in your second house of money, possessions. Those of you who are married, you're in a long-term relationship, there could be big changes in the lives of your in-laws, or releasing some joint venture, some joint income stream that you have with another person. Getting rid of certain investments. This can also be paying off a debt, a big bill that you used to owe. So getting rid of debts. Releasing old karmic patterns that are passed down through generations. This can be a time of great healing. You can have a lot of these realizations. Release some trauma you've been holding on to. Some of you may feel this now, some of you may feel this throughout the year, because Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, is going to transit this eclipse degree exactly August 31st of this summer. And then next year, this is where Mars is retrograding as well. So there could be a sense that a lot is changing when it comes to joint finances, joint responsibility, all throughout this year and even early next year. March 6th, Venus will move into Aries, and this is where you are initiating a new beginning when Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. Now Venus is coming in. Now when Venus makes contact with Neptune and Saturn, so from the 6th to the 9th, there could be some relationship issues, money challenges, or confusion with relationships. But this is where the joy will come from in the month of March. This is where Venus is working on a new skill, teaching a class, working on a website, getting on social media, gossiping, hanging out in your community. That's what's going to bring you a lot of joy and fulfillment in March. March 10th, Jupiter will station direct in your 6th house of work, routine, colleagues, employees. When Jupiter is retrograde, we feel all the benefits more internally. Maybe we're thinking about making changes, but now that Jupiter is direct, you will see tangible results. Those of you who own a business could find really great new employees that come work for you. Some of you might be getting new coworkers. You might start a new fitness routine, a new diet, new eating habits that really benefit your life. So there's going to be a sense of more optimism after March 10th. Be a little bit more cautious from the 13th to the 17th. On the 13th, Mars will conjunct the North Node. This can bring on anger, heated discussions. At the same time, you can get a lot of endurance to really go after what you want. March 15th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct Mars. And this can bring on heated discussions, a lot of tension. People could just be on edge those few days. March 18th, there is a new moon in Pisces. This is a new beginning in your 2nd house area. This could be a new job for some of you, a new source of income, buying a possession that you have always wanted, making a big purchase, changing up your routine, your diet, what you eat. There is a new beginning when it comes to the money that you make, your finances towards the end of March. March 20th, Mercury finally goes direct. So if there has been issues with communication, with bills, with family, finances, this can finally get resolved. And things can go back to normal. I hope that this was helpful, Aquarius. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. On March 2nd, Mars, the planet of anger and action, moves into your 1st house. This can make you very impatient, argumentative, but also very motivated to begin and initiate something new in your life. You're going to have more vitality, more energy to get things done. At the same time, this is where Mercury is retrograding. So there could be a lot of miscommunication and a lot of you really rethinking your home life, where you live, who you live with. You will be questioning if you're in the right home, in the right area, in the right relationship. Some of you could be reminiscing about old relationships, ex-partners. Ex-partners could contact you, come back into your life. And just next month, Uranus will be heading back into your 4th house. So a lot of you can have a lot of changes when it comes to place of living, your home, who you live with. March 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse at 12 degrees, 51 seconds of Virgo. This is your 7th house of partnerships. relationships, your spouse, your romantic partner, contracts, business partners. Those of you who have personal planets from about 9 to 15 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, you are a Pisces rising, somewhere from 9 to 15 degrees, you will feel this most intensely. If you have your sun there, it could be image, health, career changes, moon, home, family, mother. If it's Venus, it could be money, aesthetics, your relationships are changing. I do have a video on how personal planets are affected by eclipses. If you want to watch that for more details, look back to 2008, 2009. Themes that were happening in your life then are coming up yet again right now. This is a South Node eclipse, so there is a sense of closure, detachment in this area of life. Those of you who own a business, this could be a time when you lose some clients, letting go of a business contract, maybe parting ways with a business partner. Those of you who are married, you're in a relationship, there could be some endings or something happening in your partner's life. This could also be a breakup, a divorce, a separation from a romantic partner. Some of you may be taking a relationship to the next level, marriage, engagement, making a relationship official. Some of you may reach an agreement with an opponent, a frenemy, a competitor. The ruler of this eclipse is retrograding in your first house. Mars is there, so there could be a sense of reaching a dead end to something. There's nothing else that you can do. Of course, with eclipses, there's this chaotic energy. A lot of times it's fated events. We can't control it. Things can happen out of our control when a partner just decides to leave you. Try not to make any rash decisions around the eclipse until you know you have all the information. Sometimes a lot of things are revealed during the eclipse. Things we were unaware of. Secrets come to light. And with this being a South Node eclipse, this could even be a connection from a past life that comes into your life. Someone that you used to date comes back into your life and you guys start over. If there's lingering feelings that you have towards an ex-partner you have a hard time releasing, the lunar eclipse comes and you have a sudden realization and you're able to finally release those feelings. These changes may be occurring now in the month of March, April, but also this summer because July 21st, Venus will transit over this degree. August 31st, Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, will transit this degree, triggering the eclipse yet again. So things could also happen at the end of summer. And next year, in 2027, this is the area where Mars is retrograding, the area where issues come up. June 12th and 13th of 2027, Mars will trigger this degree point when it transits over 12 degrees of Virgo. So a lot of you Pisces are having huge life shifts and changes with yourself, where you're going in this life, and your relationships. The meaning of this eclipse is that a veil is removed, illusions are shattered, and you must look at the truth of the situation. Are you in the right partnership? Are you not? Are you happy? Are you both happy? So a lot of changes can be occurring over the next year with your relationships, your partnerships. This is the last eclipse that involves the nodes for the next 9 years for you guys, but not the last eclipse. There is a lunar eclipse in your first house, August 28th at 5 degrees of Pisces, and February 20th of 2027. During the Mars retrograde that we will have, you have a lunar eclipse in your 7th house of partnerships at 2 degrees of Virgo. So a lot of you are still undergoing changes all the way through next year. So you're not really done moving forward and making huge changes. Some of you are in the midst of it. And this lunar eclipse has the ability to bring out things we were unaware of. March 6th, the planet of love and beauty moves into your 2nd house. This is where you are initiating a new beginning that started when Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries, and now Venus is joining in. So from the 6th to the 9th, there can be feelings of loneliness, relationship challenges, challenges with finances as Venus meets up with Neptune and then Saturn. But Venus is also our happiness, where we find joy. So during the month of March, Venus in your second house means that the joy will come from trying new foods, wining, dining, buying yourself some nice possessions you can really value for a long time to come. Getting new makeup, getting your hair done, that's what's going to bring you a lot of joy in the month of March. And Venus is your eighth house ruler. Some of you could actually be getting a gift from a partner, a spouse, an insurance payout, a tax return, or initiating a new money-making venture with somebody else. March 10th, Jupiter turns direct at 15 degrees of Cancer in your fifth house of children, romance, creativity. When Jupiter is retrograde, its blessings are felt internally. So a lot of you might have been thinking about wanting to date, starting new creative projects, but now that Jupiter turns direct, you will start to see these tangible things happen. So from now on until this summer, a lot of you could fall in love. Some of you maybe get pregnant. Find new hobbies that bring a lot of joy to your life. Start new creative projects. Have more fun. Improve your relationship with your children. After March 10th, there will be a lot more optimism. You want to be a little bit more cautious. March 13th through the 17th. March 13th, Mars will conjunct the North Node, exactly at 8 degrees of Pisces. There could be a lot of anger, maybe arguments, heated discussions. At the same time, you're going to have a lot of endurance and you're going to want to initiate a change. You may feel a very fated pull towards something, someone. Go after what it is that you want. You just want to make sure you are more careful. People could be a little bit more on edge during those days. March 15th, Mercury retrograde will be conjunct Mars at 10 degrees of Pisces. There could be miscommunication, but at the same time, a lot of anger, heated discussions, tension, arguments. You could also be more accident prone. You could be a little bit more argumentative, so you want to watch out for this. From the 13th to the 17th. March 18th, there is a new moon in the sign of Pisces. This is your first house of self-identity, your life path. So there is a new beginning with your life path, where you're going in this life. And it could be because you are moving, a new relationship, choosing to leave a relationship. A lot of you, this is a new beginning in your looks, your aesthetic, getting a new hairstyle, a new haircut, new makeup, a new wardrobe, getting fit, getting healthy. There's something new that you are doing with your body, with your look. Now that Saturn and Neptune is out of your first house, it's like breathing a sigh of relief. You've got this new energy around you. This new moon's going to bring out you wanting to experience new things. Some of you might even impulsively change your hair color, your hairstyle. And there's going to be a sense of optimism and confidence with this new moon. March 20th, Mercury will finally turn direct. So if there has been issues with the home, place of living, maybe there's repairs that needed to be made, issues with relationships, miscommunication, things can finally get resolved. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more.